It ain't easy being a man these days. Hard to even say for sure what a man is. A provider, a lover, maybe even a hero. One thing's for sure. A journey towards being whatever a real man should be doesn't need to be done alone. The Gentlementor are here to help you navigate that, so you never have to go alone.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Gentlementor. Did I say that too loud?
No, that was perfect.
Hey everyone,
Say
welcome
it loud,
to the Gentlementor.
say it proud. It's the
Say it loud.
Gentlementor.
Hey, welcome everyone. We're so glad that you joined us. If this is your first time joining us, we're just a couple of guys here, and all we do is just sit and chat
Welcome.
about things that help other men. At least we hopefully do. Hopefully it does.
Trying to
Hopefully
help.
it do. I don't know.
Trying to help.
But I'm wearing my plaid, and so I don't feel intelligent.
Very manly.
No, that's not right. But it is manly. It is manly.
I got my golf shirt
anyway.
on, even though I don't play golf.
Yeah, there you go. I don't chop wood, but I have a plaid on. Yeah. That's what you've been
If you did,
told, right?
how much wood would you chop? That's the question.
Oh, no.
That's the question we're here to investigate on the Gentlementor.
Hey, what we're talking about, this is a brand new season. If you don't know us, start today. Don't go back and look at this stuff. Start today. We're here for you today. We want to help you change.
Season 3.
We think men, in fact, I believe that change is the only constant in the world. And if you don't change, you die. Everything that is living, it dies. And even things that are dying
Amen to that.
change as well. So anyway, we're your change agents.
Woo,
change
agency.
Want to help you make those changes. Want to help you make those changes for the better. Be a better person. Be a better man. Better husband. Better father. Better employer. Better employee. Whatever you are in your life, we just want to help you be better. So with that said, join us. You can hit us up on the Insta-webs and then on the social media stuff and the YouTube and the BitChute and TikTok and the stuff like that. We'd love to have you.
Social possibilities.
Yes, there's so many things. Wherever you're at, you can always probably find us and just send us a message, and we'd love to hear from you.
Let us know what you're thinking. Please hit us with questions, comments, whatever you want to talk about. We're there to talk.
So we've been talking about change, and you finally remembered a quote that we talked about a week or two ago.
Well, I remembered it, but I put it in that video as we're sitting there talking about how I can't remember the exact.
Oh, you put it. Okay, you put it in the video.
Choosing the pain of discipline now or disappointment later. You will choose the pain of discipline now or the pain of disappointment later. So that was kind of like that first thought that we were talking about there. Now or later, when do you want to change? When would you like to change? Because I think we established in episode 1, I think it was episode 2. It doesn't matter. The change is inevitable. The change you want to make is not inevitable, but change is going to come find you. If you are single and you get married, change is coming to find you. If you get married,
you bet it is.
Have a kid, change is coming to find you every day of the week.
Yep.
Probably many times a day. Any kind of thing you go through in life, change is going to have. You lose a relative, you lose a loved one, change. It doesn't matter if you want to do it or not.
Right.
Here's the thing that I think we kind of focused on a lot. I want to focus on again, or at least for this second here, is to say that daily discipline, that ability to keep yourself in check, to stay on the tracks of discipline, that we kind of touched on this, the daily workout, the daily Bible discipline, whatever your discipline is, that prepares you for that moment when change comes. It keeps you soft and flexible and ready to move. When that thing whizzes in, you're ready. Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Yeah.
That's what being prepared in your day gives you. Rather than letting the day come and find you, you go get the day. You get up. You exercise. You seek out the disciplines that you need to do to make you a better person. And then you're not behind the 8 ball. You're setting the pace. You're setting the rhythm. That's why the now or later question is so important, because if you choose discipline later, it will be chosen for you. You will not have a say. If you choose discipline now, you get to pick. You choose the form of the destroyer. I love that part in Ghostbusters. It's one of my favorite lines in life, especially when it comes to self-discipline. Choose the form of the destroyer. Right before they pick the Marshmallow Man.
Yes.
Just don't clear your minds. Don't think about it, because whatever you think about, that's going to be the thing that comes to destroy you.
Yep.
It's no, that's a secret superpower. You get to choose the form of the destroyer. Unless you let it be chosen for you. If you go into neutral and say, I'm not going to pick, I'm just going to let life happen to me, and whatever happens, happens, I'm just going to let it roll over me and deal with it later. If you choose now, if you choose discipline now, you get to choose the form of the destroyer. Doesn't sound like much, but I would rather pick what's going to chew me up than just let it happen. But that's me. So that's why now or later, because it's going to happen.
Okay. Could we effectively change the title to Now and Later?
Now and later.
Now
Always,
and later.
always and forever. It almost sounds
Always
like a
and
wedding
forever.
theme.
It
A prom
does.
theme.
It does.
Always
Oh,
and
it's so
forever.
romantic. No,
You're going to change.
You're going to change inadvertently. So we could probably categorize change into a couple of different categories.
Give it a shot.
Okay, let's try. I'm thinking of two. We could probably get another one. First of all, it's just change you have zero control over, but it still changes you. Okay, legislations, laws, and I say zero control.
Flying objects.
Yes, meteors from the sky, whatever. Plagues that come on the land if you own property, whatever. There's some things you just don't have.
You are just responding to.
Don't have control. The only thing, and you've heard this in all kinds of things, if you read anything online, they tell you it's not about how you deal with what comes at you, but how you choose to respond to it is the key. That's the key that you have. A lot of times that response makes things worse. And
may I hit pause?
I'm setting you up.
Go,
Hold on, I'm setting you up. Sometimes that the response is so ingrained in us, and let's grant it, maybe that response is not necessarily wrong, or the response isn't necessarily bad, but the way that the situation comes back again, because let's face it, change is a two-way communication. Something happens, we respond. Something happens because of that response, we respond to that response. It's a volleyball back and forth game of ping pong.
And not fun.
Yeah, and depending on, back to that, what you said, you choose the destroyer. Every time your response sends that ball back, it multiplies and comes back. So you spin it back with spikes on it, it comes back as metal with spikes on it. You send it back on fire, it comes back as molten lava. Whatever. I'm making this up.
And escalated.
It did. Two types of change, and I was setting you up because it's all about the response that we have. And sometimes that response is ingrained in our hearts. How so? How can that be?
I don't know. I don't know if this was what you're setting me up for, but here's where I'm going.
Well, let's try it. Let's go for it.
I hope so. I'm feeling the vibe, and I'm getting
all right,
this.
all right. I'm ready.
You keep saying a word, and I keep hearing the word, and the word is reaction.
Mm-hmm.
Reaction. And then there's this other word, response.
Yes.
Response.
Yep.
This is not in my notes, but man, you're talking to me and setting me up. There's
a whole
hearing.
new one right there.
Reaction versus response.
Ooh, that's really good.
Overlook this in my notes, but if you're going to set me up, that's what I hear. Reaction versus response, because mine is a life of reaction.
I set you a ladder up to the second floor. You jump into the attic. So go for it.
I apologize, but man, we talk about? We talked about this.
That's really good, though.
Last week we talked about I've been having conversations with people that shall remain nameless who want their lives to change, but don't see that the problems are coming from in here.
Mm-hmm.
Everything's external, and this reaction versus response thing to me is like they're tied together. Like, if you believe everything is coming at you from outside, then you have locked yourself into a reaction situation. So what is a reaction situation? A reaction situation is just that. It is like a, what do you want to call it? A knee-jerk reaction. It is an automated response. You said this, so I'm going to send this back at you. And it's not even about what you said or what you meant or that moment. It is about slinging that back at you. It is a reaction. Just like if you threw a flaming dart at my head, my arms would go up and try to block my face, hopefully. Mm-hmm. It's an autonomic. Is that the right word? Autonomic response.
I think that's it. Yeah.
We block or we throw without thinking about it. We grab something and okay, so we have reaction, and it's just automated. And then we have response. And response is completely different, even though it's the same. It's the feedback part. But response is measured. Response is thought about. Response is calculated. response is not just an emotional, back at you, baby.
Yep.
It is taking that and going, wait a minute. I know what you said, but I know that's not what you meant. So let me just take the speed and the heat off this here. I'm just going to hold on to this for a second. Let that cool off for a minute. Because you were sending something hot at me. But I'm not going to give you a hot reaction. I'm going to give you a cool response. A response has an answer.
Keep talking.
A response answers the question. A response, man, I hate to get biblical here. There's a thing here that a calm answer.
Soft answer turns away wrath.
Turns away wrath.
Proverbs, yeah.
It's like if you can take the time to not just yell back, and you can go, oh man, that's not like you. You're acting kind of weird. You're kind of mad. You seem upset about something. Go, oh well, maybe so. Okay, I'm just going to hang on to this. I'm not going to fire back.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to recognize this for what this is, and I'm not just going to react. I'm going to hold on to it, and I'm going to study it. I'm going to look at it, and then I'm going to respond. And I'm going to go, is everything all right? This don't seem like you.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a different thing, reacting and responding. But if you never measure yourself, if you never examine yourself, you will never find it.
That's true.
And if you want to change, there's the first practical step.
Well, and if you don't take a moment, during when something happens, you don't take a moment to think about it before you do anything, then you'll never know that there's a difference between a response and a reaction.
Most of the time, that's what we do.
Like I said, immediately we get yelled at, we yell back. We get hit, we hit. And that's, you hear that all the time. I remember that working with kids when I was younger. It's like, why did you hit him? Well, he hit me.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
that makes a lot of sense.
Nothing. Growing up don't change
No, it doesn't, because it's just the same thing.
We get better excuses.
So while you were talking, you better excuses, and you can use more words, and then people they tweet about it. So here's what I got whenever you said that. So if reaction, okay, let's say I'm hit with a circumstance. If I react, I take ownership of that circumstance, even if it's not mine. If I respond, I have the opportunity to decide whether I want to take ownership of that or deflect it. So, for example, I don't know, some legislation or something comes up.
That's a great example, strong example.
They decide you can't cook on gas stoves anymore in the United States.
What?
So, I one of two things. I either react or respond. I could think thoughtfully about it and go, okay, well, here's what I got, whatever. And that's probably a terrible example of
It's an example.
That, but
it works for this reason, because it shows that we both do both.
Right. But if
like
I were to,
you see that news story, there's a reaction in your brain.
Right. But if I immediately go down and start egging, and we don't egg anymore because they're way too expensive. If I toilet paper the Best Buy because they sell gas furnaces now because they're breaking,
that's your response.
That's that'd be a reaction if I'm mad at it.
Well,
or if I go to my local government, break into their legislation.
Your immediate reaction is they're the son of a bad words. Right. They're taking stills away. That's your instant reaction. Now, do you follow that through?
Some people do.
Some people do. Yeah,
yes.
Yeah. That's the thing.
And so they want to fly the middle finger at those people
that first thing.
Yes.
Can we go, wait a minute, that's not the correct response. Or, no, wait, my emotions have got me. Here we go. Get the eggs in the toilet paper. We got to go do something about this.
Right. But in my opinion, a response would be, okay, what do we need to do to change this legislation or prevent it from happening?
Yeah. What's a smart move?
Right.
Instead of the emotion move.
And granted, if the government's making our choice on what devices we can cook in our house, they have way too much control anyway. The problem is not the legislation. That's not where the problem lies in that type of scenario. We drifted political again. We got to come back.
I know. I've often tell people and go look, and I won't name anything, but various demonstrations have been against different groups. I go, look, your problem is that you're not doing it smart. You're so full of emotions, and you've got your signs and your banners, and you're setting stuff on fire out in the street. as many people as you've mobilized, if you did this smart, you'd be effective.
Yeah.
But they let emotion lead. They want emotion to lead.
Yes. You probably don't get one of the stations. You guys have your own stations up there. Our station
I don't have
here,
my own. This is my own station here.
our Fox station
Welcome.
here has no, it's not Fox, it's CBS station here. Anyway, so it opens up with this young lady, and she's walking down the sidewalk, and she's got her purse over her shoulder, she's got this big coat on, and she's looking at her phone, and she's texting. And as she walks by, there's this guy leaning up against the building, and he's just giving her this side-eye look. And immediately I reacted. She's in trouble because of the way they set it up, which was brilliant. And then the next scene is they show her, and she about to walk, and the guy comes up behind her and grabs her purse strap and pulls on her purse. And then it freezes. The video freezes, and in walks the news anchor.
Oh yeah.
And says, "Have you ever seen this?"
McGruff.
Yeah, almost. Yeah. Walks around and says, "It's just a matter of perspective." And they shifted the camera around in this three-dimensional space, which was really cool. And he's pulling her because she's on her phone and she's about to step out in the street, and there's a bus coming. And so the perspective changed when you realize that's why he was pulling. And they did it with something else too, but it wasn't as
some great
impactful.
memes like that.
Yeah, it was very impactful. And it was like, see, it's all about perspective. And again, it's all about the reaction and the response, because we react to something like that and we immediately think, he's gonna whatever, mug her or assault her, whatever. And it's like, oh no, he was actually saving your life. We just need to take a minute and step back and look at it. I asked the Lord.
On reaction. Sometimes reaction can save your life. There's places for reaction.
I asked the Lord Chat GPI or GPT what the difference between reaction and response is. A reaction is an automatic and instinctive response to a stimulus, often driven by emotions and impulse. Sounds like somebody already said this. They must have been listening. Chat GPT was listening to
an episode
right now.
Me versus Chat GPT, because I'm pretty sure it's just stealing my shit.
It is stealing the stuff. It's typically immediate and unplanned. It may not take into account all the full context of a situation. On the other hand, a response is considered a thoughtful action taken in response to a stimulus. It's usually planned and deliberate and takes into account the full context of the situation. A response is usually more measured and controlled than a reaction. In summary,
we hate that.
I like that Chat GPT summarized this for me. A reaction is automatic, emotional, and often impulsive response to a situation, while a response is considered thoughtful, deliberate action taken in response to a situation.
My actual stupidity validated by artificial intelligence.
Thank you, Doug GPT, for telling us what Chat already told us.
There you go.
There you go. You're absolutely right.
Do people pay for that Chat GPT?
No, not yet. Not yet. Microsoft is probably going to start making people.
Just type in a question and get an answer. As long as I'm not promising to be accurate.
Chad DUG, yeah. That's funny. Yeah, I really feel like that when you react to that, though, you claim that. A reaction is an absorbatory. Is that a word? What's absorb when I absorb something, but in a past continual sense?
The Borg do assimilate.
Assimilate. Okay, I like it.
That's what I do with your syntax.
That's what I used to do before there was Word. Remember actually having to write things out when you actually had to write things for yourself out of your brain? You couldn't think of how to spell a word. You're just like, nah, just use a different word.
Oh, absolutely. I do that even now.
That's exactly, yeah.
I don't trust spell check.
Even whenever spell check can't go, I don't know what you're trying to do. Just stop it. And I'm just like, oh, forget it. I'll use a different word. Assimilate. When we react, we assimilate that circumstance into our existence.
Exactly. That's why it's so terrifying.
Yes.
It's just like when someone questions our beliefs. You're either mature enough to go, no, my beliefs can stand a question, and I can discuss this.
Right.
And it doesn't diminish my belief. It doesn't diminish what I have faith in. It doesn't diminish whatever it is we're questioning. We're just talking about it.
Yeah.
Versus people who are threatened and have to respond in an angry, fearful way because you're tearing down the foundations of everything they believe in, and they can't handle that.
Well, I want to tear that down. I want all of our men out there. Really. Let's talk about it. Let's tear this down. Let's tear down the beliefs. Tear down the beliefs. Here's what I believe. Listen, men, your beliefs are just that. They are beliefs. They are different than other people's. Everybody's got different beliefs. I think they're meant to be challenged. They're also meant to be revised and renewed. What is not to be challenged, what is not to be challenged or revised or renewed, only added to, are your values. It's more important that we value things than the things we believe with. When we learn to lead with value, we don't put our beliefs in there as much. Your beliefs are based on your values. But I can't push my beliefs on you. But if I value the life of every cat in my neighborhood, there is nothing you can do to change that.
That's a great point, because values are where we find common ground.
Yes. Yeah.
Right? I mean,
values example. Are things we can all rally around. I value human life in any form. Human life is valuable, period.
We love to use the example of Mozo. Here's somebody, again, culturally different, but we find commonalities. And where are those commonalities at?
In the values.
Yeah.
Not in our beliefs.
No.
Not in our beliefs.
Not
because
taste,
I have plenty of
anything else but values.
I have plenty of people that I hang out with that I absolutely love and glean from. We have a great relationship, and we don't believe in the best Mexican restaurant in Springfield. It's the same place. We don't believe that the one man was called by God to be the Messiah and is the only way to heaven. We don't believe the same, but we value good beer. We value good drink. We value good conversation. We value encouraging each other to be good fathers and good husbands. So those things are unchangeable. So yeah, there you go. Value over beliefs. So break them beliefs down. We've covered a lot of ground.
Awesome.
We've covered a lot of ground. It's been really good. I appreciate ChatGPT's input during our conversation here. Yeah.
And I saw somebody tonight. I was looking through the Instagram messages, and somebody had a picture where they'd gone to ChatGPT and it told them it was too busy.
Oh yeah, I got that this afternoon. Yeah.
Let me just say, if that's the case, in the comments, I just proved I can go head to head with ChatGPT any day. If you're if it's too busy, I'm not. I'm probably sitting around here taking too many pain medications. Go ahead.
Pain medications and trying to figure out how to make these electrodes stick to my butt.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, let me tell you, you may not get an accurate answer, but you'll get an entertaining answer.
That's true. That's true. You missed out. All of you guys are listening. You missed out on our conversation earlier. And Doug's been having. I'm sorry, I'm giving more information than you. You know, pains in the
sciatica pain. It's
using those little diodes,
the electrodes,
electrode things,
the tins, the E-stem thing.
Yeah. And so his biggest complaint was he couldn't get them to stick to him anymore.
They won't stick anymore.
So if you got any ideas, hey, that'd be a great. Please let us know an idea. You know, staple gun.
What if I took a fork and put it up against my back and just backed into a wall outlet and just put
that
the
would probably
right
do
in
it.
the wall
You know
outlet?
what? You'd probably stop thinking about the sciatic nerve as much.
Yeah, pain's over.
Yeah. Hey, what would be your response?
What's that singing?
What would be your response or your reaction if I stuck a fork in the lower portion of your back?
And electricity. Would I react or respond?
Would you react or respond? Yeah, I think maybe that's something too we should touch on here for a second while we have a few minutes. So that doesn't make sense. What some things we probably react to, you know, physical things like that. You touch a pan and it's hot. You react.
Perfectly good reaction.
It's a good reaction. Move away. I think it's a very good instinct.
Yeah, reactions can be great things. It's just we apply reactions where they don't belong. Yeah, and I think that here's what I will give up to ChatGPT. What is they brought in that emotional thing, really underline that emotional thing. That reaction is about emotion. It's automated. It's just like a reflex.
So we can clarify, because people will complain, and I don't want to give you a reason not to connect with us, but people will say, hey, some things need a reaction. Yes, if I'm in a restaurant with my family and I hear gunshots, I'm not going to respond. I'm going to react, because my response is going to require me to go for at least 45 seconds going, okay, were those gunshots or fireworks? Was a car backfiring? Whatever. Good. A reaction in that case, grab everybody's head and shove it under the table, is probably a pretty good reaction in that case, even if a bloody nose or two happens, you know, as a result.
Right.
So yeah, there are great situations for reactions. But I think those are different than the situations that we're talking about. I mean, you get fired from your job.
By and large. Yes.
Right. Yes.
Mostly.
By and large, they're mostly different than what we're talking about. This is a circumstance that happens in life. You get fired from your job. You have a choice to respond or react. You have the time to think about deliberate and conscious reaction versus a knee-jerk response. So yeah, granted, there are some times you need to react and probably just go with those reactions. But
I want to say, as a person who's given to emotional reactions, that a lot of those feel imperative. And that's exactly what lets you cut loose on people.
How do you mean? What do you mean?
Like you're in a moment and something happens, and that emotional desire to react is so strong. It feels so imperative. It's not. I just want to say that. That's one of the reasons it's so hard not to give that reaction that quick.
Yeah.
I can't think of the word. There was a great word in there. Reflex. That's the word. That reflex. Blah. Most of the time it's not necessary. If you want to change something about your life, change that. There's one little thing you can start to watch out for. Am I reacting or am I responding? Someone's saying something to me and I feel the emotions bubbling up inside. What am I going to do with that? Am I just, as soon as they get done, back on them? And make them jump back? This is one of the great things, and there's a lot of dumb stuff that you should avoid learning in college, and especially college psychology. But one of the things that I learned that was very valuable, and it was kind of one of those things I think we all know, but we don't really have a way to put it into words, is that people very rarely speak to you and say to you, this is the thing I want. We don't say...
That's true.
We don't do direct communication very well. More often than not, what we're doing is saying words that will get the reaction out of you that we're
hoping
trying,
for.
Yeah, we're trying to precognate what you're going to respond to and throw words that will get you to respond in that way. This is why arguments are so destructive, because arguments are basically people throwing hand grenades at each other, trying to get them to jump the right way, instead of just communicating about what the real issue is. I'm just going to throw fire bombs and hope you jump the way I want you, and you're going to do it to me. Well,
unless you're a narcissist, you planted landmines exactly where you don't want them to be.
Everything's getting destroyed. Mutual assured destruction is what they used to call it.
Well, that's true. Yeah, nothing is coming out unscathed in that
And if
scenario.
you can't learn to take your emotions in hand, what do we say? I think it's probably been a couple episodes. Just last week, but it's been a couple episodes. No self-control, you have no control. If you have no self-control, you have no control. If you hate hearing this, me too. But that doesn't change the fact that it's the truth. And the truth is, if you can't control yourself, you can't control anything. And when that emotion rises up inside of you and needs you to yell those words or throw whatever it is you're getting ready to throw, take control.
I mean, yourself is the only thing you really can control.
Exactly. Everything else is a farce.
And the better controlled yourself is, the better you are at, I don't want to say controlling or manipulating, but navigating and creating your own circumstances. The better self-control you have, the better you are at navigating and creating your own circumstances that you love, that you
clear
want.
Head. You got to do it in a clear head, not an emotional head. And that's what it requires. And that's why people don't want to do it, because it's so much more fun to get emotional.
And you know how you can spot, you know how you can spot someone who's a reactionary versus a responsivary? I just made that up.
No,
you ever hear someone when they hear a story about someone else, and immediately they're like, oh, that sorry son of a bitch. I can't believe he said that. Can't believe it. Reactionary. I mean, didn't some wise person in ancient times say something about, woe to he who only hears the side of one story and doesn't hear both before placing a judgment, or something?
I don't know, but that sounds like worthwhile advice.
It is pretty good advice.
It's pretty solid.
So, yeah. So when you hear something about that, and a lot of times that stuff doesn't come from just, what's the word I'm looking for? A neighbor that's gossipy. Sometimes that comes from media. Sometimes that comes from what we're watching, what we're feeding ourselves, and immediately we have a reaction to that. Go, wait a minute. Do you know all sides of that?
Stirring us up.
Right. But have you gotten other perspectives, Doug? Have you gotten another perspective about that? No. You heard that from one thing, but did you get up and walk around to the other side of the cliff and look down and see that is actually?
Yeah. And in
what it
this
is
day
they
and
say they
age,
are.
that counts more and more.
It is. But the sad thing is too many times we respond to things like that. Or no, we react to things like that immediately. Oh, well, that's just he's not a good, that's just the
And
government.
we tell
They're
ourselves
just,
this lie. I got to say this. I'm not being honest if I don't say this. I gotta. It's like, no, you don't gotta.
no,
And
I
in
don't.
fact, here's the truth that hurts worst of all. Anything you say as a reaction is probably going to be destructive to your purpose. And if you take that same energy,
because you owned it, because when you reacted, you owned that circumstance.
yeah,
you owned it.
If you take
You
that
assimilated
same
it.
energy and hold it in this hand,
Right.
and let it become a response, let those emotions die down. Because folks, let's be honest, emotions always die down. Emotions never last.
No.
And love
But
is
they
not an
are
emotion.
plentiful.
So don't even
But
start with me there.
But they are plentiful, and they're
And this day
they're
and age,
so easy to manipulate
that's
people with,
all the
especially
social media is for. Is to
especially
stir up
if I can
emotions.
manipulate you with your own emotions.
It's a
I can get you to
I
do.
think they call
I
it
can
the
get you to
win-win.
do. You can get you to do whatever you want if I can manipulate you with your own emotions. That's just Let's don't be that way. Let's don't
Do not
manipulate
do it.
you. Oh, okay.
Manipulate me. Do not do it. Turn your emotions down.
Yeah.
Wait.
I've always said that emotions make a good co-pilot. They don't make a good navigator.
You said one of the best, most powerful things to me, and it was something I was already working on, and you already had a kind of a fabricated thing, which always helps me, but it was the thing about the, now I can't remember.
Was it tonight or was it some other time?
No. It's like a thing you've said before about emotions, but I don't remember where I was going with it, so I don't remember.
I always say that emotions make a great, emotions are a good indicator, not a good navigator.
Maybe that's it.
That's what I've always said, is that they're a great, it's a
Yeah.
great indication of what's happening. Take it into consideration. That's why airplanes have so many different instruments, is because there's a lot of indications about the attitude and the altitude of the airplane. And so you want to take in several of those things. Emotions are just one of those things. There's 3 others there that tell you the same thing about the airplane, and not to mention what you can see based on the wings, the horizon, the sky, whatever.
They're
useful. All kinds of things.
They are very useful, but because we feel them, they feel imperative.
Oftentimes we just
dial in. Say this.
We just dial in emotions and we fly straight for that mark.
That's your name.
That's me. Hey, I know we've probably gone over time, but thanks for joining us tonight.
Hey, you're not paying. Extra means
really.
Extra, right?
Really, it's extra. It's free, no charge.
Enjoy.
On the GMs. It's all for you. We appreciate you being here with us. Listen, if you got questions about change, you got questions about some of the things that we talked about, or rebuttals about something, or something you want to add to the conversation, please let us know. We are interested in what you have to say, because we're interested as you. We're interested in you as an individual so that you can succeed. So
say words.
That's it. We'll see you next time.